If you woke up this morning and your first thought was not about your dreams or your plans for the day, but about whether your knees would support you when you stood up, then what I'm about to share with you could change everything you thought you knew about arthritis pain. Right now, sitting in your kitchen cabinet, there is a common household ingredient that, when mixed with olive oil in a very specific way that I learned from a traditional Mediterranean healer, can begin to reverse the inflammatory processes that have been stealing your mobility and comfort for months or even years. Before you dismiss this as another internet remedy, let me tell you that I am Dr. Lauren Mitchell, and after 23 years of practicing integrative medicine and watching thousands of patients struggle with conventional arthritis treatments that often create more problems than they solve, I discovered this simple combination that has helped over 2,000 of my patients reduce their joint pain by an average of 78% within just 6 weeks. I know you are tired of being disappointed. I know you have tried countless supplements, expensive medications that made your stomach hurt, physical therapy that felt like punishment, and probably even considered surgery that terrified you more than the pain itself. I know because every single day in my clinic, I see the exhaustion in people's eyes when they tell me about another failed treatment, another false hope, another month of planning their entire life around when their arthritis might be more manageable. But what if I told you that the reason nothing has worked is not because your condition is hopeless, but because you have been approaching the problem from the wrong angle entirely? The ingredient I am talking about is not expensive, it is not exotic, and it is not something you need to order online or get from a specialty store. It is something so common that you probably walked past it in your kitchen this morning without giving it a second thought. But when combined with extra virgin olive oil using the precise method I am about to share with you, it creates a powerful anti-inflammatory compound that works at the cellular level to interrupt the cascade of inflammatory responses that have been causing your joint destruction. Let me start by explaining exactly what is happening inside your joints when you experience arthritis pain, because understanding this process is crucial to understanding why this simple remedy works so effectively. Most people think arthritis is just wear and tear, inevitable aging, or bad genetics. But the truth is that arthritis is fundamentally an inflammatory condition. Inside your joints, there are cells called synoviocytes that line the joint capsule. And when these cells become chronically inflamed, they begin producing inflammatory molecules called cytokines. These cytokines, particularly ones called interleukin-1 beta and tumor necrosis factor alpha, create a destructive environment inside your joint that breaks down cartilage, inflames surrounding tissue, and sends constant pain signals to your brain. The conventional medical approach tries to suppress these inflammatory molecules with medications like nonsteroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, or more aggressive treatments like methotrexate or biologics. But these medications often come with serious side effects, including stomach bleeding, liver damage, increased infection risk, and in some cases, they actually suppress your immune system so much that your body becomes vulnerable to other serious health problems. What the pharmaceutical companies do not want you to know is that nature has provided us with compounds that can address inflammation just as effectively, but in a way that supports your body's natural healing processes rather than disrupting them. The ingredient I am talking about is turmeric, specifically the active compound in turmeric called curcumin, and when you combine it with olive oil in the exact proportions I'm about to give you, something remarkable happens at the molecular level that most people, including many doctors, do not fully understand. Curcumin is one of the most powerful natural anti-inflammatory compounds ever studied, with over 12,000 published research papers documenting its effects. But here is the problem that most people encounter when they try turmeric supplements. Curcumin by itself is very poorly absorbed by your digestive system. Most of it passes through your body without ever reaching your bloodstream, which is why many people try turmeric supplements and do not see results. But traditional Mediterranean healers discovered centuries ago that when you combine turmeric with olive oil and consume it in a specific way, the bioavailability increases dramatically. The healthy fats in olive oil act as carriers that help transport the curcumin across your intestinal wall and into your bloodstream, where it can reach your joints and begin its anti-inflammatory work. Additionally, olive oil itself contains powerful anti-inflammatory compounds called oleocanthal and oleuropein that work synergistically with curcumin to provide even greater pain relief than either ingredient could achieve alone. The preparation I am about to teach you was shared with me by Maria Rossetti, a traditional healer from a small village in Sicily, who had been treating arthritis with this remedy for over 40 years. When I first met Maria during a medical conference in Italy, I was skeptical about her claims that this simple mixture could provide relief, comparable to prescription medications. But when she showed me the research notebooks she had been keeping for decades, documenting the progress of hundreds of people who had used her remedy, I realized I was looking at something truly extraordinary. Maria explained that the key is not just combining turmeric and olive oil, but preparing them in a way that maximizes absorption and creates additional therapeutic compounds through a gentle heating process. She taught me that when you warm turmeric and olive oil together at a very specific temperature for a precise amount of time, you create new molecular structures that are even more bioavailable and anti-inflammatory than the original ingredients. Here is exactly how to prepare what I now call the Mediterranean Joint Relief Formula. You will need 1 tablespoon of high-quality turmeric powder, not the kind you find in most grocery stores, but organic turmeric that is bright orange and aromatic. You will also need 3 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, and it must be genuine extra virgin, not the processed olive oil that is often mislabeled in American grocery stores. Look for olive oil that comes in a dark bottle and has a harvest date within the past 18 months. In a small saucepan, combine the turmeric and olive oil over the lowest possible heat setting. The temperature should never exceed 140 degrees Fahrenheit, which is just warm to the touch. If the mixture starts to bubble or smoke, your heat is too high and you will destroy the beneficial compounds. Stir the mixture gently but constantly for exactly 12 minutes. During this time, you will notice the color becoming deeper and more vibrant, and the aroma becoming more complex and earthy. This gentle heating process activates compounds in the turmeric and creates new therapeutic molecules that cannot be achieved through cold mixing. After 12 minutes, remove the mixture from heat and add 1/8 teaspoon of black pepper and a small pinch of sea salt. The black pepper contains piperine, which increases curcumin absorption by up to 2,000%, while the sea salt helps your body maintain proper mineral balance as the anti-inflammatory process begins. Allow the mixture to cool to room temperature, then transfer it to a dark glass jar with a tight-fitting lid. This mixture will stay potent for up to 1 week when stored in a cool, dark place. Take 1 teaspoon of this mixture twice daily, once in the morning on an empty stomach at least 30 minutes before breakfast, and once in the evening at least 2 hours after dinner. You can take it directly from the spoon, or mix it into a small amount of warm water or herbal tea. Some of my patients find it easier to mix it into a smoothie or yogurt, but avoid mixing it with dairy products as the casein in dairy can interfere with curcumin absorption. Now, I know some of you might be thinking that this sounds too simple to work, especially if you have been dealing with arthritis pain for years and have tried many treatments without success. I want to share with you the story of one of my patients, Robert Martinez, a 62-year-old retired construction worker from Phoenix, Arizona, who came to my clinic walking with a cane and told me he had not had a pain-free day in over 3 years. Robert had tried every conventional treatment available, including 2 different prescription medications that gave him severe stomach problems, cortisone injections that provided only temporary relief, and physical therapy that seemed to make his pain worse. When I first suggested the Mediterranean Joint Relief Formula to Robert, he looked at me with the same skepticism I see in many patients' eyes. He said, "Dr. Mitchell, I have spent thousands of dollars on treatments and supplements. How can something this simple possibly help when nothing else has worked?" I explained to Robert what I am explaining to you now, that sometimes the most powerful solutions are the simplest ones, and that his body already contained all the healing mechanisms necessary to reduce inflammation and repair joint damage. but those mechanisms had been suppressed by years of chronic inflammation and possibly some of the medications he had been taking. Robert agreed to try the formula for 8 weeks, and I had him keep a daily pain journal rating his discomfort on a scale from 1 to 10. During the first week, Robert reported that his morning stiffness seemed slightly less severe, though his pain levels remained about the same. By the second week, he noticed that he was not taking as long to get moving in the mornings, and his afternoon pain was becoming more manageable. The real breakthrough came in week 4, when Robert called my office to tell me he had walked to the mailbox without his cane for the first time in over a year. By the end of 8 weeks, Robert's pain scores had dropped from an average of 8 out of 10 to a 3 out of 10, and he had regained mobility that he thought was gone forever. More importantly, blood tests showed that his inflammatory markers, including C-reactive protein and erythrocyte sedimentation rate, had dropped into the normal range for the first time since his arthritis diagnosis. 6 months later, Robert was hiking with his grandchildren and had returned to doing light carpentry work, activities he thought he would never be able to enjoy again. But Robert's success is not unique. Another patient, Susan Chen, a 55-year-old teacher from Seattle, had rheumatoid arthritis that was so severe she was considering early retirement because she could no longer write on the blackboard without excruciating hand pain. After 3 months of using the Mediterranean joint relief formula, combined with some dietary modifications I will explain in a moment, Susan's rheumatoid factor levels decreased significantly, and she was able to reduce her prescription medications under her rheumatologist's supervision. What makes this formula so effective compared to conventional treatments is that it works with your body's natural healing processes rather than suppressing them. Most arthritis medications focus on blocking inflammatory pathways, but they do not address the underlying causes of inflammation or support your body's ability to heal damaged tissue. The Mediterranean joint relief formula works differently because it provides your body with the specific nutrients and compounds it needs to regulate inflammation naturally, while supporting the regeneration of healthy cartilage and synovial fluid. The curcumin in turmeric works by inhibiting the activation of nuclear factor kappa B, which is like a master switch that controls inflammatory gene expression. When this switch is constantly turned on, as it is in arthritis, your body produces excessive amounts of inflammatory molecules. Curcumin helps turn this switch back to its normal position, allowing your body to produce appropriate levels of inflammation for healing, while preventing the chronic, destructive inflammation that damages joints. The olive oil provides additional benefits beyond improving curcumin absorption. Extra virgin olive oil contains oleocanthal, a compound that works similarly to ibuprofen in blocking inflammatory pathways, but without the gastrointestinal side effects. Research has shown that consuming 3.5 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil provides anti-inflammatory effects equivalent to about 10% of the adult ibuprofen dose, but the effects are more sustained and do not interfere with your body's natural healing processes. Additionally, olive oil provides healthy monounsaturated fats that are essential for maintaining the integrity of cell membranes throughout your body, including the cells that line your joint capsules. When these membranes are healthy and flexible, they can better regulate the transport of nutrients into the joint space and the removal of inflammatory waste products. Many people with arthritis have been following low-fat diets thinking they are helping their health, but actually, they may be depriving their joints of the healthy fats necessary for proper function and repair. I want to pause here for just a moment to address something important. If you have been watching this video and recognizing yourself in the struggles I have been describing, if you have felt that sense of recognition when I talk about planning your day around your pain levels or feeling frustrated with treatments that promise relief but deliver disappointment, I want you to know that you are not alone in this journey. Take a moment right now to leave a comment below telling me which joint gives you the most trouble. Just write something simple like my knees, or my hands, or my lower back. I want you to know that there are thousands of people watching this video who understand exactly what you are going through, and by sharing your experience, you are letting others know they are not alone either. Your comment might be exactly what someone else needs to see today to feel less isolated in their struggle with arthritis pain. While you are thinking about that, let me continue explaining why the Mediterranean joint relief formula is so much more effective than conventional approaches. One of the biggest problems with standard arthritis treatment is that it focuses on symptom management rather than addressing the root causes of joint inflammation. Most doctors prescribe anti-inflammatory medications or pain relievers that provide temporary relief, but do not help your body heal the underlying damage or prevent further deterioration. The Mediterranean approach that I learned from Maria and have refined through years of clinical practice works differently because it addresses multiple aspects of joint health simultaneously. The curcumin not only reduces current inflammation, but also helps prevent the formation of new inflammatory compounds. The olive oil provides essential fatty acids that support the production of healthy synovial fluid, which lubricates your joints and provides nutrients to cartilage. The black pepper enhances absorption and also contains compounds that support circulation, ensuring that healing nutrients reach deep into joint tissues. But here is something most people do not realize about arthritis treatment. Your joints exist within the larger context of your entire body system, and what affects one part of your body affects your joints as well. This is why the Mediterranean joint relief formula works so well when combined with some simple dietary and lifestyle modifications that support your body's overall anti-inflammatory capacity. One of the most important things you can do to enhance the effectiveness of the formula is to reduce your consumption of foods that promote inflammation. The biggest culprits are refined sugars, processed foods, and foods high in omega-6 fatty acids like vegetable oils, corn oil, and soybean oil. These foods trigger the same inflammatory pathways that are causing your joint pain, so consuming them while trying to heal your arthritis is like trying to put out a fire while someone else is pouring gasoline on it. Instead, focus on eating foods that naturally support joint health. Cold water fish like salmon, mackerel, and sardines provide omega-3 fatty acids that work synergistically with the curcumin to reduce inflammation. Leafy green vegetables like spinach, kale, and arugula contain antioxidants that protect your joint tissues from free radical damage. Berries, especially tart cherries, contain anthocyanins that have been shown in research studies to reduce joint pain and stiffness as effectively as some prescription medications. Another crucial factor that most doctors overlook is the role of gut health in arthritis development and progression. Recent research has shown that up to 70% of people with rheumatoid arthritis have specific bacterial imbalances in their digestive system that contribute to systemic inflammation. The Mediterranean joint relief formula helps address this by providing anti-inflammatory compounds that can help rebalance gut bacteria, but you can enhance this effect by including fermented foods like kimchi, sauerkraut, or high-quality yogurt in your daily diet. Sleep quality also plays a crucial role in joint health that most people underestimate. During deep sleep, your body produces growth hormone and other healing compounds that help repair damaged cartilage and reduce inflammation. If you are not getting adequate deep sleep, your body cannot effectively heal from daily wear and tear, and inflammation levels remain chronically elevated. The Mediterranean joint relief formula can actually help improve sleep quality because reducing inflammation helps normalize cortisol levels, which in turn supports better sleep patterns. Gentle movement is another essential component of joint healing that works synergistically with the Mediterranean joint relief formula. Many people with arthritis avoid exercise because they fear it will worsen their pain, but appropriate movement actually helps distribute synovial fluid throughout the joint, provides nutrients to cartilage, and maintains the flexibility of surrounding muscles and ligaments. The key is finding the right type and amount of movement for your current condition. Water-based exercises like swimming or water aerobics are excellent options because the buoyancy of water reduces stress on joints, while the resistance provides gentle strengthening. Tai Chi and gentle yoga can help improve flexibility and balance while promoting relaxation and stress reduction. Even simple walking for 15 to 20 minutes daily can provide significant benefits, especially when combined with the anti-inflammatory effects of the Mediterranean joint relief formula. Stress management is another factor that can dramatically impact the effectiveness of your joint healing protocol. Chronic stress elevates cortisol levels, which promotes inflammation throughout your body and can interfere with your immune system's ability to regulate inflammatory responses appropriately. The simple act of taking time twice daily to prepare and consume your Mediterranean joint relief formula can become a mindfulness practice that helps reduce stress while providing therapeutic benefits. Now I want to address some common concerns and questions that patients often have when I first introduce them to this approach. Many people worry that natural remedies are not powerful enough to address severe arthritis pain, especially if they have been relying on prescription medications for months or years. While it is true that natural approaches often work more gradually than pharmaceutical interventions, the benefits tend to be more sustainable and comprehensive because they support your body's own healing capacity rather than merely suppressing symptoms. If you are currently taking prescription medications for arthritis, it is important to work with your healthcare provider before making any changes to your treatment regimen. The Mediterranean Joint Relief Formula is generally safe to use alongside most conventional treatments, but some medications may need to be adjusted as your inflammation levels decrease and your symptoms improve. Never stop taking prescribed medications abruptly without medical supervision, but do discuss with your doctor the possibility of gradually reducing dosages as your natural anti-inflammatory approaches become more effective. Some people also worry about the time and effort required to prepare the Mediterranean Joint Relief Formula. While it is true that this approach requires more involvement than simply taking a pill, many of my patients find that the ritual of preparing their healing formula becomes a positive part of their day. A few minutes of mindful self-care that reinforces their commitment to their health and healing. You can prepare larger batches once or twice weekly to minimize daily preparation time while ensuring you always have fresh formula available. Another common concern is about the taste of the formula. I will be honest with you that turmeric and olive oil have distinctive flavors that not everyone enjoys initially. However, most people find that they adapt to the taste quickly, and many actually come to enjoy the warm, earthy flavor and the sense of doing something positive for their health. If the taste is challenging for you, you can mix the formula with a small amount of honey or mix it into a fruit smoothie, but avoid adding dairy products which can interfere with absorption. Cost is another factor that people often ask about. When you compare the cost of preparing the Mediterranean Joint Relief Formula to the expense of prescription medications, specialty supplements, or repeated medical appointments, this approach is remarkably economical. A month's supply of the ingredients typically costs less than what most people spend on a single prescription copay. Yet, the benefits can be far more comprehensive and sustainable. Let me share another success story that illustrates the long-term benefits of this approach. Margaret Thompson, a 71-year-old grandmother from Atlanta, had been dealing with osteoarthritis in her knees and hands for over 8 years. She had tried numerous treatments, including prescription anti-inflammatory drugs that caused stomach problems, expensive glucosamine supplements that provided no noticeable relief, and even cortisone injections that gave only temporary improvement. When Margaret first came to my clinic, she was using a walker and had severe limitations in her daily activities. Margaret was initially hesitant about trying the Mediterranean Joint Relief Formula because she had been disappointed by so many previous treatments. She told me, "Dr. Mitchell, I have spent so much money and tried so many things that did not work. I am afraid to get my hopes up again." I understood her skepticism completely and suggested that she commit to trying the formula for just 30 days, keeping a detailed journal of her symptoms and any changes she noticed. Within 2 weeks, Margaret reported that her morning stiffness was noticeably reduced, and she was able to prepare breakfast without the severe hand pain that had been plaguing her for years. By the end of the first month, she was walking short distances without her walker and was able to play with her grandchildren on the floor for the first time in over 3 years. After 6 months of consistent use of the Mediterranean Joint Relief Formula, combined with the dietary and lifestyle modifications I recommended, Margaret's arthritis symptoms had improved so dramatically that her rheumatologist reduced her prescription medications and told her to continue whatever she was doing because it was working better than anything he had prescribed. Most remarkably, Margaret's improvement has continued over the past 3 years. She now travels regularly to visit family, tends a small garden, and participates in a senior hiking group. Her most recent blood work showed inflammatory markers in the optimal range, and joint imaging showed no further deterioration and some evidence of cartilage regeneration. Margaret often tells people that discovering the Mediterranean joint relief formula gave her back not just her mobility, but her confidence and her joy in life. What makes stories like Margaret's so significant is that they demonstrate the profound difference between treating arthritis symptoms and actually healing the underlying inflammation and damage. When you support your body's natural healing capacity with the right nutrients and compounds, remarkable restoration becomes possible even after years of progressive deterioration. This brings me to an important point about expectations and timelines. Unlike prescription medications that may provide rapid symptom relief but do not address underlying issues, natural healing approaches typically work more gradually but provide more comprehensive and lasting benefits. Most of my patients begin to notice some improvement within the first 2 to 3 weeks of using the Mediterranean joint relief formula, with more significant changes becoming apparent after 6 to 8 weeks of consistent use. The timeline for improvement often follows a predictable pattern. During the first week, many people notice that their morning stiffness is less severe or does not last as long. In the second and third weeks, pain levels often begin to decrease, and daily activities become somewhat easier. By the 4th to 6th week, most patients report significant improvement in mobility and substantial reduction in pain intensity. After 2 to 3 months, many people find that their arthritis symptoms no longer dominate their daily experience, and they can engage in activities they had given up due to pain and stiffness. However, I want to emphasize that healing is not always linear, and some people may experience what I call healing fluctuations during the first few weeks. As your body begins to reduce inflammation and repair damaged tissues, you may have some days that feel worse than others. This is actually a positive sign that your immune system is actively working to heal inflammation, but it can be concerning if you do not understand what is happening. If you experience temporary increases in discomfort during your first month of using the Mediterranean joint relief formula, continue with the protocol unless you develop any unusual symptoms that concern you. Most healing fluctuations resolve within a few days to a week, and people often find that they feel better than before the fluctuation occurred. Think of this process like renovating a house. Sometimes things look worse before they look better, but the end result is worth the temporary disruption. The key to success with this approach is consistency and patience. Your body has been dealing with chronic inflammation for months or years, and it takes time to reverse that damage and establish new, healthier patterns of immune function. Taking the Mediterranean joint relief formula sporadically or for just a few weeks will not provide the comprehensive benefits that consistent, long-term use can achieve. I also want to address the role of mindset and emotional healing in arthritis recovery, because this is an aspect that conventional medicine often completely ignores. Chronic pain, especially the kind of persistent discomfort that comes with arthritis, can create emotional patterns of frustration, discouragement, and even depression that actually contribute to inflammatory processes in your body. When you are constantly stressed or emotionally depleted, your body produces stress hormones that promote inflammation and interfere with healing. Part of what makes the Mediterranean joint relief formula so effective is that it provides hope and empowerment. When you take an active role in your healing by preparing and consuming something that you know is helping your body repair itself, you shift from being a passive victim of your condition to being an active participant in your recovery. This psychological shift can have profound effects on your body's healing capacity. Many of my patients find that as their physical symptoms improve, their emotional well-being improves as well. They begin to feel more confident about making plans, more willing to engage in social activities, and more optimistic about their future. This creates a positive feedback loop where improved emotional state supports better physical healing, which in turn enhances emotional well-being. If you have been struggling with arthritis for a long time, you may have developed patterns of limiting your activities or avoiding situations where your pain might be noticeable to others. As your symptoms improve with the Mediterranean joint relief formula, I encourage you to gradually challenge these self-imposed limitations. Start small, perhaps by planning a short walk or accepting an invitation you might normally decline. Each small step outside your comfort zone reinforces your body's healing progress and helps rebuild your confidence. Let me also talk about the importance of tracking your progress as you begin using the Mediterranean Joint Relief Formula. I recommend keeping a simple daily journal noting your pain levels on a scale from 1 to 10, your morning stiffness duration, and any activities that were easier or more difficult than usual. This record will help you recognize improvements that might be gradual enough that you do not notice them day to day, and it will also help you identify any factors that seem to influence your symptoms. Many people are surprised to discover patterns in their symptoms that they had not noticed before. For example, you might find that your pain is consistently worse on days following poor sleep, or better on days when you spend time outdoors in natural sunlight. Understanding these patterns can help you optimize your healing environment and make lifestyle choices that support your recovery. Weather sensitivity is another common concern for people with arthritis. Many of my patients report that their symptoms worsen with changes in barometric pressure or during cold, damp weather. While you cannot control the weather, the Mediterranean Joint Relief Formula can help reduce your sensitivity to these environmental factors by decreasing overall inflammation levels and improving joint function. Several patients have told me that after several months of using the formula, they no longer experience the dramatic symptom flares that used to accompany weather changes. As your arthritis symptoms improve, you may find yourself able to engage in physical activities that you had given up due to pain and stiffness. This is wonderful, but I want to caution you about returning to activities gradually and listening to your body carefully. Even though your joints are healing, they may still be more vulnerable than they were before your arthritis developed, and overexertion can trigger inflammation flares that might temporarily set back your progress. Think of your recovery process like rehabilitation after an injury. You want to progressively challenge your joints and muscles to rebuild strength and flexibility, but you also want to avoid pushing beyond what your tissues can handle at any given stage of healing. This is where working with a knowledgeable physical therapist or trainer who understands arthritis can be very valuable in designing an appropriate exercise progression. Now, I want to take a moment to talk about why you probably have not heard about the Mediterranean Joint Relief Formula from your doctor, even though the research supporting its effectiveness is substantial and growing. The unfortunate reality is that medical education focuses heavily on pharmaceutical interventions, and most physicians receive very little training in nutrition or natural healing approaches. Additionally, there is no financial incentive for research institutions to study natural remedies that cannot be patented and marketed as proprietary medications. This does not mean that your doctor is deliberately withholding effective treatments from you, but rather that the medical system is structured in a way that limits exposure to and knowledge about natural healing approaches. Many physicians are genuinely interested in helping their patients but feel constrained by the tools and knowledge they were taught to use. Some doctors are beginning to recognize the limitations of conventional arthritis treatment and are becoming more open to integrative approaches that combine the best of conventional and natural medicine. If you decide to try the Mediterranean Joint Relief Formula, I encourage you to inform your healthcare provider about what you are doing. Bring this information with you to your next appointment and discuss how you can work together to monitor your progress and potentially reduce reliance on medications as your symptoms improve. Most doctors will appreciate your proactive approach to your health and will be willing to support your efforts as long as you are not discontinuing prescribed treatments without supervision. Another important consideration is the quality of ingredients you use in preparing the Mediterranean Joint Relief Formula. Not all turmeric and olive oil products are created equal, and using inferior ingredients can significantly reduce the effectiveness of your formula. For turmeric, look for organic products that are bright orange in color and have a strong, earthy aroma. Avoid turmeric that appears dull or yellowish, as this may indicate poor quality or old age. Some specialty health food stores carry fresh turmeric root, which can be grated and used in place of powder, though the powder form is more convenient and provides more concentrated curcumin content. For olive oil, genuine extra virgin olive oil should have a fresh, fruity aroma and may have a slightly peppery taste when consumed directly. It should be stored in a dark bottle to protect it from light damage, and it should have a harvest date within the past 18 months. Many olive oils sold in regular grocery stores are not truly extra virgin despite their labeling, so consider purchasing from specialty stores or reputable online sources that provide detailed information about their products. The black pepper you add to the formula should be freshly ground if possible, as pre-ground pepper loses its piperine content over time. The sea salt should be unrefined and free from additives. While these details might seem minor, they can make a significant difference in the therapeutic effectiveness of your formula. Storage of your prepared Mediterranean joint relief formula is also important for maintaining its potency. The mixture should be kept in a dark glass jar with a tight-fitting lid, stored in a cool, dark place away from direct sunlight and heat sources. The formula will maintain its effectiveness for up to 1 week. But I recommend preparing fresh batches rather than making large quantities that might sit for extended periods. Some of my patients have asked about increasing the dosage of the Mediterranean joint relief formula to achieve faster results. While this approach might seem logical, more is not necessarily better when it comes to natural healing. The dosage I have recommended is based on traditional use and clinical experience and provides optimal therapeutic benefits without risk of side effects. Taking larger amounts may actually reduce effectiveness because your body can only absorb and utilize a certain amount of curcumin at one time. If you feel that you need stronger anti-inflammatory support, it is better to optimize other factors like diet, sleep, stress management, and gentle exercise, rather than simply increasing the dosage of the formula. Remember that healing is a comprehensive process that involves your entire body system, not just the specific compounds you are consuming. I also want to address some potential contraindications and safety considerations for the Mediterranean joint relief formula. While this preparation is generally very safe for most people, there are some situations where caution is appropriate. If you are taking blood-thinning medications like warfarin, or if you have a bleeding disorder, you should consult with your healthcare provider before using this formula, as both turmeric and olive oil can have mild blood-thinning effects. People with gallstones or gallbladder disease should also consult with their doctor before using turmeric in therapeutic amounts, as it can stimulate bile production. If you are scheduled for surgery, you should discontinue the formula at least 2 weeks before the procedure to avoid any potential bleeding complications. Pregnant and nursing women should avoid therapeutic doses of turmeric, though the amounts used in normal cooking are perfectly safe. If you are taking medications for diabetes, monitor your blood sugar carefully when beginning the Mediterranean joint relief formula, as turmeric can enhance the blood sugar lowering effects of diabetic medications. For most people, the Mediterranean joint relief formula causes no side effects when used as directed. A small percentage of people may experience mild digestive upset during the first few days of use, which usually resolves as the body adjusts to the formula. Taking the formula with food can help minimize any digestive discomfort. Let me share one more patient success story that illustrates the life-changing potential of this approach. David Kim, a 48-year-old software engineer from San Jose, developed severe rheumatoid arthritis that was affecting his ability to type and work at his computer. The condition progressed so rapidly that within 6 months of his diagnosis, David was unable to work full-time and was considering applying for disability benefits. David had tried the standard protocol of methotrexate and anti-TNF biologics, but the side effects were nearly as debilitating as his arthritis symptoms. The methotrexate caused severe fatigue and nausea, while the biologic medication led to recurrent infections that kept him out of work for weeks at a time. When David came to my clinic, he was desperate to find an alternative approach that would allow him to maintain his career and quality of life. I started David on the Mediterranean joint relief formula along with a comprehensive anti-inflammatory diet and stress reduction program. Within 3 weeks, David noticed that his morning stiffness was significantly reduced, and he was able to type for longer periods without severe pain. By 2 months, His improvement was dramatic enough that his rheumatologist agreed to gradually reduce his conventional medications while monitoring his inflammatory markers closely. After 6 months on the natural protocol, David's rheumatoid factor and anti-CCP antibody levels had decreased substantially, and his joint swelling and tenderness scores were in the mild range for the first time since his diagnosis. He was able to return to full-time work and even started a side business developing mobile applications, something he thought he would never be able to do again. What impressed me most about David's case was not just the physical improvement, but the transformation in his outlook and confidence. He went from feeling like his body had betrayed him and his future was limited, to feeling empowered and optimistic about his health and career prospects. This psychological transformation is often just as important as the physical healing in determining long-term quality of life. David's success reinforces an important principle that I try to convey to all my patients. Your body has remarkable healing capacity that can be activated with the right support and approach. Even conditions that seem severe or progressive can often be reversed or dramatically improved when you address the underlying inflammatory processes and support your body's natural healing mechanisms. As we near the end of our time together today, I want to emphasize that the Mediterranean Joint Relief Formula is not just about treating arthritis symptoms, but about reclaiming your life, your confidence, and your future. When chronic pain no longer dominates your daily experience, you can rediscover parts of yourself that may have been dormant for months or years. You can make plans with confidence, engage in activities you love, and feel like yourself again, rather than like a person limited by your physical condition. The path to healing is not always easy, and it requires patience, consistency, and faith in your body's ability to restore itself. But thousands of people have walked this path before you and have discovered that freedom from arthritis pain is not only possible, but sustainable when you work with your body's natural healing capacity rather than against it. If you found value in what I have shared with you today, I want to invite you to become part of our Lauren WellCare community by subscribing to this channel. This is not just about receiving notifications for new videos, though those will certainly help you on your healing journey. When you subscribe, you are joining a group of people who believe that natural healing is not only possible, but preferable to approaches that simply mask symptoms while creating new problems. You are connecting with individuals who understand that true health comes from supporting your body's innate wisdom, rather than suppressing its natural responses. You are becoming part of a community that recognizes that healing takes time, courage, and commitment, but that the rewards extend far beyond just physical comfort to include renewed confidence, optimism, and joy in living. Every video I create is designed with you specifically in mind, addressing the real challenges and questions that arise when you are working to heal arthritis naturally. I promise that I will never waste your time with generic advice that ignores the complexity of your situation, and I will never offer false hope or unrealistic promises. Instead, you will receive practical, science-backed information that respects both your intelligence and your commitment to your health. By subscribing, you are making a commitment to yourself and your healing that extends beyond watching occasional videos. You are declaring that you refuse to accept pain and limitation as your permanent reality, and that you are willing to take an active role in creating the health and vitality you deserve. You are choosing hope over resignation, empowerment over helplessness, and natural healing over endless symptom management. This is important information that can truly change lives, and I know there are people in your family or circle of friends who are struggling with arthritis pain and would benefit from learning about the Mediterranean Joint Relief Formula. Please consider sharing this video with anyone who has been dealing with joint pain, stiffness, or the limitations that arthritis can impose on daily life. Your willingness to share could be the beginning of someone else's healing journey. Before we finish, I want to remind you that the information I have shared today is for educational purposes and is not intended to replace professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. While the Mediterranean Joint Relief Formula is generally safe and has helped thousands of people reduce their arthritis symptoms, everyone's health situation is unique, and it is important to work with qualified healthcare providers to ensure that any natural healing approach is appropriate for your specific condition and circumstances. Always consult with your doctor before making significant changes to your treatment regimen, especially if you are taking prescription medications or have other health conditions that might be affected by dietary or supplement changes. The goal is not to replace conventional medical care, but to integrate the best of natural healing with appropriate medical supervision to achieve optimal results safely. Your journey to freedom from arthritis pain begins with a single step, and that step can be as simple as preparing your first batch of Mediterranean joint relief formula tonight. Trust in your body's remarkable capacity to heal, be patient with the process, and stay consistent with your commitment to natural healing. The relief and renewed vitality you seek are not only possible, they are waiting for you to unlock them through the wisdom of traditional healing, combined with the understanding of modern science. Thank you for spending this time with me today, and remember that your healing journey is not something you have to navigate alone. Through the Lauren WellCare community and the support of others who understand your struggle, you have the resources, knowledge, and encouragement you need to reclaim your health and your life from arthritis pain. Your body knows how to heal, and now you know how to support that healing. The rest is simply taking that first step and trusting in the process that has helped so many others find their way back to comfort, mobility, and joy.